There is a reason over 120 teams come to Rising Stars every year. It's beautiful South Florida. We're in Plantation today. Rising Stars 16-year-old championship game is up next on CBS Sports Network.
Sport, and these parents and coaches are committed for their daughters. You got to love that.
Cameron Parker is in the batter's box. Pitch one of the championship game is dropped foul in the batter's box, so we'll set it up again. 0-1 count. The Power batting and the Storm on D, and there you get a look at the layout of the defense. Johnson is throwing to Rom, the battery today, and we'll talk more about those position players as we dive in to today's contest. But for those of you who may be watching your daughter or your family member from afar today, congratulations to all these young players on making the game. We hope you enjoyed today's CBS Sports Network presentation of the Rising Stars 16-year-old championship game. Carly Jo Johnson, 15 years of age, pitching. And on that 0-2 count, it's a good spot with it. Rom gives her a little tip of the glove saying, great job, it's a ball, but that's exactly what we wanted. Carly Jo out of Phoenix.
And she's a kid with a lot of power. She throws a great changeup. Also will throw a rise and drop combination, curveball, screwball. A lot of these pitchers at this age group are starting to play around with those junk pitches, get that movement through the zone. But you know, as I always say that at my camps and clinics around the country, first pitch you need to be learning as a young pitcher is a changeup.
53 miles per hour sends the count to 2-2. Slap back to the circle, pretty easy play. 1-3 on the putout, picked up by Johnson and easily handled on out number one of the championship game. Delaney Marshall playing first base for the Storm. Gets the putout.
Carly Johnson showing right on cue the changeup. That's the pitch that she likes to go to when she's ahead in the count and behind in the count. She gets the ground out on that last changeup.
Now with one down, top of the first. Teams, again, just came off of quarterfinals and semifinals, so they're well oiled, warmed up, and they've seen some pitches today. They've seen some defensive opportunities. On the third game of the day, I don't imagine these young players are going to be too concerned about their energy level. I think they're probably all just fine, ready to go.
Yeah, very excited. But, you know, I think the one thing that the Storm has to be aware of is, as Amanda Scarborough said earlier, that Carly Johnson, this is her third game of the day. She's already thrown 13 innings. So for a 15-year-old, that's a pretty high pitch count. They're going to have to monitor her.
I got it.
Danae Chapman is also a pitcher for the Storm, so we'll see if she's ready to go at some point if Johnson gets into trouble.
Carly Canada, 14 years of age, a 2017 grad, just a freshman, playing on television, and she'll draw a walk. The first runner of the game is Carly Canada of Houston Power. Carly out of Cypress, Texas. In that number 2 spot. Earns her way on base with one down. Says she prefers biology as her favorite subject in school. And one of her top memories in the game, hit an in-the-park grand slam, winning runs in Colorado. Carly, part of the big show in Colorado that takes place in this summer. There's a throw down with Chapman, the second baseman, covering on the throw behind the runner, Canada. And you know, you talked about fall and what goes on this time of the year. Just this weekend alone, just Triple Crown. Things going on in Florida, yep, and in Las Vegas and in Texas. And next week, of course, the big Ronald McDonald event down in the Houston area. A lot of these teams will end up there. All kinds of activity going on for these players at this time of year. States are a little mixed, I think, as far as fall or spring high school ball.
Right, that's
I know
correct.
it can vary. So some of these players just finished their school season. Some of them won't do that until the spring.
Yep. Georgia is a regional state that plays a fall ball season.
Runner going and easily in. Pitcher's down in the dirt. Good job to keep it in front behind the plate by Rom, but no chance to throw out the runner heading down. Stolen base in the books and a 3-0 count now. Inside the Power dugout, you know, there was a. We'll just go ahead and be flat out honest with it. There was some confusion at the start of the game, and the Power took the field thinking they were home and then had to be scraped off there, sent them back to the dugout. But I will say this, what you heard when they left the field, they were told nope, you're actually visitors. Their cheer went up. We get a hit first. We get a hit first. And they were excited to get back in there and get the bats. Tag up try, and now a fake. She'll just feint the try and head back to second. And a wise move as a strong throw comes in from right field for the second out, the fly out there. 2 down now for the Power bats. Liz Cartwright with the catch and just a dart to third base. No chance to tag on that.
Yeah, Cartwright doing a really good job getting that ball in. She's got a little bit of the wind at her back, so a smart decision by the Houston Power to hold up at second base.
Becky Ducar, the third baseman, took the throw coming in. This ball will skip off the plate. Yeah, actually hit the batter, so it hit her foot was what that was. I saw it bounce up awkwardly. I thought it maybe caught the front edge, but I will give the ground crew credit. That plate is flush. It couldn't have hit anything there. It had to be her foot.
You see it comes in and plunks the back foot.
So the benefit on that, it was ball 4 anyway, and the benefit there is that the runner could not move to third base. So still standing at second is Canada on a dead ball hit batter. Now a runner will check in as Kirsten Martin, the catcher. They can courtesy run for that spot. So Martin will give way and put a little bit of speed over there at first base. Alexa Montemayor out of Pearland, Texas, has taken first base after the 4-pitch walk to the cleanup batter. Sets up a 2-on, 2-out opportunity for Houston Power in the top of the first. Strike 1 to Izzy Rollo. Izzy out of Katy, Texas. Her favorite college team, Nebraska, said Izzy. She's a 2016 grad. Double steal on, throw to third, in time but dropped. Ball pops loose, and now 2 runners out there with 2 down for Izzy Rollo.
Oh, Houston Power being very aggressive. Canada, the runner from second, is going to take off. Nice throw down. I love the way they drop behind, but the Storm just unable to finish the play and get the out. That's a nice throw by Hunter Rahm behind the plate.
Man, a great pitch to throw on, too. Up and in, led her right into the throwing slot. Delivered it well. Got loose out of the glove on the tag try. So second and third with 2 down. Big spot, big chance for the Power right out of the gates in the top of the first. Pitch is up, a couple of walks in the inning. The only way that runners have gotten on here. It was Courtney Coveney who flew out to right field. It's the only batted ball we've seen. And now the third walk of the inning as Rollo is sent down to first base to load him up with 2 down.
Man, Carly Johnson's been so strong in her first 2 games of the day. First inning here's in a little bit of trouble. You have to wonder how much fatigue sets in, especially, you know, that after 2 games and you sit, you have about 30 minutes off, you start to tighten up a little bit. See if she can get out of this threat here in the top of the first.
Jamie Garcia steps in with the bases full of pink jerseyed Houston Power. Jamie Garcia, another 2016 grad. This is the 16 and under championship game. So you're going to see a lot of sophomores and freshmen today. Sends this foul down the third base side. Good to get a strike on the board. A lot of balls pitched in this first inning.
And Garcia, nice backside rotation, gets the hands extended a little bit early, so she pulls it foul. She has let that ball travel a tad bit deeper onto that inside corner.
Now with a 1-1 count and 2 down, we'll check in with Amanda Scarborough.
Guys, last game against Impact Gold, Carly Johnson didn't have any walks, gave up 6 hits and only had 2 strikeouts. Not a big strikeout pitcher, but looks like walks is getting her into trouble this game. Could be the fatigue because she didn't have any walks against Impact Gold and the win to get here.
That is good input, Amanda, and right here with the pitch fouled back now. Johnson is digging in. She's got to get off the hook in this first. She can get out of here with no damage. It's been a long inning, a lot of pitches, but if you get out of there 0-0, you're feeling pretty good if you're the Storm, who will.
Well, Johnson continuing to go to that go-to pitch, which is the off-speed, the changeup. She kind of flips it out backward, but she has not been able to find the zone with that. It's been low. She's been short hopping it in.
That was down to 44 miles per hour, and this time it's going to be hit. One run is in. Here comes another. Throw toward the plate is cut off. 2 runs on the board for the Houston Power in the top of the first.
Well, and that's the problem when you get behind 3-1 in the count. A couple of changeups float in low. They're not bid on. Houston Power stays back. We talked about the fact that they have a lot of pop off the bat, and that's exactly what happens on a 3-1 count. Great hitters count. Look at the extension. Garcia, very smooth on the backside. Great hands extension, and just drives it through the 5-6 hole, and it puts the Power up on the board with 2 big RBIs.
Canada scores. Montemayor, the courtesy runner, scores. Runners still out there at first and second. The 2 RBI single by Jamie Garcia of Baytown, Texas. Power off to a strong start in the first. Defense looking to fight their way off the field. And the Power sending Treslin Ortiz to the plate. Treslin trying to prolong the top of the first. Pops that foul. That'll get out of play. No chance for a catch behind the plate. Nice facility here at Central Park in Plantation. Glad to have you with us on CBS Sports Network. Thad Anderson and Michelle Smith with you. Amanda Scarborough roaming the edges of the field and on the field for us today. With an 0-2 count on the board. This ball grounded up the middle and through. Runner will be sent. Throw is cut, everybody's safe. Runners move to second and third, and to the plate comes Izzy Rollo for the 3rd run of the top of the first. Ortiz with the RBI single.
And Ortiz is going to get a pitch. It's a changeup that is up in the zone, and because of that, look at the hesitation. Great job of waiting for that pitch to come in. She drives it, takes advantage of the fact that it's located up in the eyes and up in the strike zone. Ortiz driving that ball back up the middle, puts another run up on the board for the Houston Power.
Now the 8th batter of the top of the first steps in, pops it up. That's Missy Hernandez, who sends it out of play foul. Missy Hernandez, I think she just fouled one off of a duck, maybe. I'm not sure. I thought I saw feathers flying. I don't know what that was.
That's talent. I don't know that she'd probably do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There was some oohs and ahs back here, and I thought I saw some feathers moving around. Maybe it was leaves. I hope no ducks were injured in the making of this film.
That's right.
We last year, as the storm was coming through, I remember we had footage of ducks on the field. I think we had a duck delay last year.
We had a duck delay.
Wildlife hanging around out here.
Well, the field looked like a pond before we 2 hours before we started.
It's more of a pond than a field, so you can't blame the ducks at all. Great setting here for these young players to showcase their talents, make some memories. College coaches all over the place here at Rising Stars, working on their futures for their programs. And you're looking at it right now on your screen. 0-2, 2 outs. This pitch will rise up, and Missy Hernandez will see another pitch with teammates at second and third. Chance for more, already up 3-0.
And you can tell that Carly Johnson does not look comfortable in the circle, just by her body language, the way she's kind of moving around. A little bit slow in between pitches. And you can just see that she's missing the zone just a little bit. Now was ahead 0-2. She last 2 pitches she throws her ball, so now she evens up the count at 2-2. But you can tell she's just not quite as sharp as she was earlier. But that she's thrown 13 innings. Again, coming into this game, 13 innings already this morning.
This ball popped, and there the Storm will get out of the inning, but not before 3 runs cross the plate for the Houston Power, including 2 on the RBI single, the double RBI single by Jamie Garcia. Storm coming to bat, down by 3. Out of Katy, Texas, Courtney, 2015 grad, 16 years of age. Congratulations to Courtney on a chance to get in the circle and try to power her team to a televised championship. And it's Martin behind the plate, Kirsten Martin, the cleanup hitter, who walked and then was scored for by a courtesy runner. So the battery you see right there, already one half of that group has been productive for a run, and it was Coveney, the number 3 batter. She's pitching now. She flied out to right field in the first inning. Chance to play some D. Danae, 2016 grad out of Anthem, Arizona. And a 1-1, or make it a 1-2 count to the leadoff batter in the bottom of the first for Arizona Storm. 56 miles per hour, the early radar gun indication for the power pitcher, Coveney. 2-2 count. Danae wants to set the table here. Her nickname, Speedy. Defensively, the Houston Power in this championship game. For those of you watching around the country who have a dog in this fight, well, there they are. That's how they put them out there. The starting 9 on D, Montemayor, Canada, and Parker will patrol the outfield. Ortiz, Garcia, Trevino, and Rollo around the infield, and a walk to kick things off for the Storm. They got to be happy that leadoff batter is on. The 3 runs that scored in the top of the first all got on via the walk. There were 2 singles to drive them in, but the bases were loaded up, or the table was set up. I guess the bases weren't, yeah, they were juiced at one point, that's right. And all 3 of those walks is how things got started. So the Storm will counter with the same. A walk to lead it off, and Hunter Rahm, the catcher, steps in.
With that, we always talk about in the game, you might have a bad inning and you give up some runs. The other team puts a couple of numbers up on the board. It's so important in your half the inning to come back and try to make something happen. It's kind of, you get punched, you want to counter punch. You got to stay in the game. And so for the Storm, getting that leadoff runner on base is key for them in this inning here.
Committed to the bunt. A couple of pitches have been squared on. Nothing yet. That ball fouled away by Hunter Rahm.
Well, this is where these 2 programs differ. The Houston Power, they have a lot of power. They hit the long ball. The Storm, they're a quick team. They've got a lot of lefties in their lineup. They like to drop the bunt. And they're going to use their speed. They're going to be aggressive, try to take the extra bag. So 2 different styles, and it's going to be important here for the Storm, being down now 3 spot already, to get people on base. You can't tie this game with 1 swing of the bat when no one's on base or only 1 person's on base. For them, they need to play that station-to-station softball and just focus on getting people on base.
That was a 1-2 pitch, a couple of fouled off bunts, and now a couple of balls to counter that. So a 2-2 count. Rahm getting a good deep at bat here, seeing some pitches. Hunter's uncle, Bruce Copeland, just passed away on Wednesday. Hunter playing with a heavy heart today. We send our condolences out to the family and wish you the best in the process, as Hunter tries the 2-strike bunt and fouls it away, which is an out. So 1 down for the Storm, as that foul ball results in out number 1, and that sends to the plate Carly Johnson, the number 3 batter for the Storm. Hey, don't throw a no Twitter today. Use hashtag TC Sports. Let us know who you're rooting for or which player you're tuned in for, and you can get in the game with us. Hashtag TC Sports on Twitter. That's hashtag TC Sports. Players always love to hear from you, especially during our next game. We got a doubleheader today during our All-American game. The players, some of them will be tweeting from the dugouts. So they enjoy looking at that hashtag TC Sports to see what's going on around the country on CBS Sports Network. This ball driven towards center and will drop. First base hit of the game for the Storm is down for Carly Johnson with 1 out. Runners on first and second.
Carly Johnson does a good job of getting the front foot down. We always talk about that. Look at the way the front foot is down and then the hands come forward. That steadies the eye. She gets great quick extension to ball and then a nice long explosive follow through, and that's what drives the ball into the field of play.
The Storm, strategically, they love when this happens in the first inning, when they get their number 4 batter up, Danae Chapman, just 14 years of age, a 2017 grad, and I don't believe that looking at her.
She's a big, strong kid. I was talking with her before the game. She's also a very good pitcher that throws a bunch of different pitches, so I'm sure she's got a lot of colleges looking at her. And
has an offer from Southern Miss, has not committed yet anywhere. She's got a whole laundry list of possibilities, including names like Oklahoma and Florida and Arizona State, Arizona, Washington, Stanford. Those are all amongst the schools that she's got some thoughts about. Danae Chapman, the batter here, the number 4 batter with 1 out, and teammates at first and second base. Chapman, you mentioned her pitching. She's scheduled to pitch an inning in our All-American game. So Danae, her team gets in this championship game, the first of our doubleheader, and then she'll also stick around with us for game 2. Here she drives the ball to left, and she's got enough on it. That'll bounce off the bottom of the fence. 1 run's going to score. They will hold the other runner at third. A double RBI. Danae Chapman puts the Storm on the board.
Well, Danae Chapman showing that power that she has, takes a pitch that's up and in, a little bit sweet on the white part of the plate, and she just peppers this over the left fielder's head. Short hops the fence, and this is exactly what the Storm needed to do. We talked about the punch, counter punch. They put a run back up on the board, 1 out with runners at second and third. Opportunity here to even put some more runs on the board.
Becky Dukar will now bat. Becky's going to bunt, runner coming, flip, safe at the plate. Squeeze play works. Chapman back safely at third. Runners on the corners, 1 down, and now the Storm only down by 1 run after the successful bunt RBI.
Well, we talk about the Storm and the type of team that they are. They're aggressive. They have a lot of speed. Oh, yes, and they'll do a suicide with their pitcher coming down the line from third. That is Carly Johnson. We talked about the fact this is her 3rd game of the day. She hit a 3-run shot in the semifinal game to get them into this championship. And then she's on the running end of that suicide. So the Arizona team really aggressive on the base pass.
Chapman comes flying home, and she'll score the 3rd run of the bottom of the 1st. We are tied at 3 as Dukar moved up to second on the steal.
Well, and we talked about the fact this team looked very steady Eddie out there. Even though they gave up the 3 spot, you could tell they were confident that they'd be able to come back. So the throw goes up the middle. The shortstop has to short hop that ball. The throw back in, but you got to love the way that Danae Chapman runs. Aggressive lead off of third, and it is all tied up.
Meeting in the circle, Danae Chapman scored that run. Danae also plays volleyball and track. She kind of made both a sprinter move and a dig move to dive to the plate and get that hand down. Volleyball, track, and softball coming to bear there for Danae Chapman. Amanda, what's up?
Well, just looking at the way that Storm is executing these plays, put down a perfect squeeze and then executed that 1st and 3rd situation on the base pass. Those are 2 really tricky plays that you don't see very often, but putting the pressure on Power early in this game defensively with their speed and just execution. I saw them put down a squeeze against Impact Gold as well. So this is a well fine-tuned team that knows how to execute some really tough situations, right, Michelle?
Yeah, definitely, Amanda, and that's really what it comes down to is when the coach gives you that call, you're going to be able to execute.
Lizzie Cartwright, the batter, 15 years of age, another freshman, 2017 grad, is Lizard, as those in her circle like to call her. I'm not sure Lizzie approved me to call her Lizard today, but it's out there. Here she'll shoot this to the shortstop side. Nice diving play for the 2nd out, big out, as Jamie Garcia, who already has a 2 RBI single, denies a likely run on that.
Well, Garcia, look at the way she's going to go in the 5-6 hole, lays out. We always talk about how important it is to stretch, to get the glove out. Garcia does just that, and that is huge. Picking that up out of the 5-6 hole prevents the Storm from putting another run up on the board.
Delaney Marshall of Prescott, Arizona, 14 years of age. Amazing to watch, you know, when you try to sort of rectify in your mind when you say their ages and look at their swings. They don't match up.
No, exactly.
Swings look a little older than their ages. And I mean that in a good way. Not 75 years old.
Yeah,
I'm talking about refined and well-oiled.
Well, it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, and you know, a lot of it really comes down to learning the movements, and these kids are so much more advanced than I ever was when I was their age. I think I was still probably playing slow pitch, a scary thought, you know, or church league, or you know, something that wasn't quite this competitive. These kids spend a lot of time, private lessons, camps, clinics, and we see it all over the country.
Coveney trying to get out of here. Here she'll get a ground ball back to her off the bat of Marshall. But each team hangs up a 3 in the 1st inning, and we have some offense at the Rising Stars 16 and under championship game. One of those runs by way of a squeeze That made it 3-2, and then the double steal, and we're tied at 3 as Chapman brings home that tying run at Rising Stars. This year, not nearly as much expense or sweat required to get this thing ready for play, but it looks great again, and we're on with game 1 of 2 today from Plantation. Houston Power, Arizona Storm tied at 3 as we hit the top of the 2nd inning. Continuing, Carly Johnson has the pitching duties, looking for a quicker body of work, and she gets a good quick start here with out number 1 on a strikeout of Marissa Trevino. Trevino, the number 9 batter, playing second base today. Trevino goes down on this 55-mile-per-hour pitch.
Oh, it looks like a curveball that's just going to move away and slightly up through the zone, and I think the biggest key is that we're seeing Johnson start to sharpen up on the corners. That first inning, she really struggled locating the ball. A little bit sharper here in the 2nd inning.
Looks like we've got Montemayor now up in the number 10 spot. Alexa Montemayor of Pearland, Texas. Drops this into shallow center for a base hit. Power with another runner on base. Their first batter was out last inning as well, and then they still hung up 3 runs, so Montemayor tries to set the same table as they had last inning.
Well, Montemayor is just going to take a pitch on the outside corner and just kind of pop it over the infield right in front of the outfield, and that's all it takes, especially when you're hitting in that 9 or 10 spot at the bottom of the lineup. Your job is to hand the bat back over to the top of the lineup. So Montemayor doing a good job of getting on base, taking that pitch, and popping it right back up the middle.
Bunt shown, ball 1, throw to first, and Montemayor is back at the bag. Good defensive rotation by both teams to this point. Chapman comes over from second base to take the snap throw back down behind, keep that runner honest over there. Ball fouled away. 1 down here in the top of the 2nd with a 1-1 count. And the leadoff batter back up there. Gotta love that when you're batting 10 and it's the 2nd inning and you've got your leadoff back up. Cameron Parker now looking at a couple of strikes against her with a 1-2 count on that foul back. As Rom comes to grab the foul ball. Reminds me of one other comment I wanted to make about Hunter Rom. We talked about her uncle who passed away, but also wanted to mention Hunter wanted to say hi to Grandma. Grandma is checking out the broadcast today. Grandma watching back at home. Hunter says hello, and glad you could take a peek at her efforts today. Staying alive in this at-bat. Going to see another pitch here on a 1-2 count. Cameron Parker, leadoff batter, playing shortstop. Cameron, 15 years of age, another freshman. 2017 is the grad year on the horizon. You think of that a couple of ways. Ball fouled back again. The runner was on the move there, Montemayor. So a 2017 grad. You, me, and a lot of these people around here, we think of 2017 and we think, you know, that's going to be here quick.
Yeah.
But as a kid, what a great 4 years.
Yeah.
She's a freshman. This is the experiences, the memories, the time she's going to have. All these players who are sophomores or freshmen, just a lot to do, a lot to breathe in over the next few years.
Yeah.
Steele is successful for the Power.
You get to really see the game just growing and expanding at the collegiate level, especially. You started getting excited. As you can see, that Montemayor is going to take off. Nice slide to the back of the bag, making herself as small as possible. But, you know, those are the things these kids have to look forward to, just, you know, seeing all their heroes on TV. And, you know, there's just a lot of opportunity. It's such a great sport. Thad, you know, I'm playing in college myself and on a couple of U.S. teams. You just, the camaraderie and everything you get to learn. You get to travel the country or travel the world. And these young ladies are working hard for those opportunities.
This ball chopped back to the circle, out recorded. Johnson takes care of that for the 2nd out. Runner moves to third base. Montemayor with the steal to 2nd, and now the move up on the ground out. 2nd time today that Parker has grounded out back to the pitcher. And that brings Canada to the plate, the center fielder. Carly Canada out of Cypress, Texas. We talked about her a little earlier in her enjoyment of biology as a subject in school. Like to be a nurse when she grows up is the career path in her mind right now. Carly Canada, she takes first pitch.
Well, and I love the fact she loves Cali Lamphere. She lists her as her favorite fast pitch softball player. Cali Lamphere, a great prodigy type softball young athlete in college at Texas A&M. And we know somebody else that went to Texas A&M, Amanda Scarborough.
There.
That's right.
There she
She's
is.
a great hitter. She had a lot of bombs last year in her freshman year.
Absolutely. Just one of those kids that was tall and lanky, but just great ability to drive the ball out of the yard.
This ball is floated to center and will score the run. Trying to take two on it and successful in taking two. Carly Canada, the hustle, called out a double. Clean as she drops the bloop into shallow outfield, the right center field area, and that will send Montemayor to the plate.
Carly must have been hearing us talk about Cali Lamphere because she does it herself. She drives in a run. Look at the way she's going to come through the box, keeps her hands inside the ball. Boy, that's impressive, the way she keeps her hands inside the ball, just pops that ball out onto the green, and then runs very well. She takes advantage of the opportunity to drive around first, hard into second. But most importantly, that is a very timely hit. Runner on third base easily puts another run up on the board for the Houston Power.
What is technically referred to as the bottom of the order. And on teams like this, there really is no bottom of the order. But Montemayor, the number 10 batter with one out, singled, stole a base, moved up on a ground out, and then scores on that 2-out base hit by Canada. So give credit to Montemayor, who courtesy ran earlier and scored a run from Martin, the catcher. Now Montemayor does it herself with a single and a move around. And Canada out there at second base, an RBI in the books for her. She's already scored once today, has Canada. So she's scratching all kinds of the stat column to this point. And Canada looking for some help from Courtney Carraway, who is the pitcher for the Power today. But right now, she's the number 3 batter in the order, looking to add another one on. Her team up by 1, 4-3, Power on top. There's something slowed down that dropped through the zone. That was hypnotic.
Yeah, it was. That's the impressive pitch we talked about, the Carly Johnson throw. She throws that about 42 miles an hour, so her harder stuff's going to come in mid to high 50s. She throws that off-speed pitch in at 42.
And now coming upstairs with something faster, good differentiation, or good playing with the brain there, playing with the eyeballs at 54 miles per hour up. But a 3-1 count with 2 down. Carraway in a good hitting situation here. Courtney says her favorite player, Bryce Harper, who is an alum of televised games by Triple Crown up at the World Series in Steamboat a handful of years ago. Bryce played through these same kinds of games that you're watching right here on CBS Sports Network, and he did okay.
Yeah.
Turned out all right.
Not too bad, huh?
And we're watching some here today who will end up making big impact for some big programs. There is ball 4. Carraway on base. That's kind of bittersweet. You want Carraway hitting. She's your number 3 batter. She can definitely get the job done, but now you get 2 runners on for Kirsten Martin. So any way you can get them on in front of Martin, not a bad thing. Quick talk. Rom heads out to talk to Johnson. They're laughing out there in the circle, having a good time. And we're all good on the Arizona Storm side. Trying to get this 3rd out of the top of the 2nd.
I think, again, we're seeing that fatigue set in with Johnson. That first inning, very rough. Couldn't find the plate. She gets a couple of quick outs here in the 2nd inning and then gets into trouble a little bit, gives up a couple of smaller hits that, to me, is just showing, again, with the walk, is in that last pitch as well, low and inside, is that she's just missing. She's a little bit off the mark. She looks a little bit tired, so she doesn't have quite the snap and explosion that she had the first 2 games earlier today.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to the catcher, Kirsten Martin. Number 4 batter had a big swing at that pitch, and a 1-1 count. Amanda?
Well, Kirsten Martin is definitely having a good day at the plate today. She already has 2 home runs. Both of them were solo. She hit a home run in the first game that ended up being the go-ahead run, and then in the 2nd game, she hit a solo shot to tie it up.
Here's a ball lifted in front of the center fielder. Sliding try. That ball's down. Going to hold the runner. It'll be corners now with 2 outs. And the run comes across as Canada plates the 5th run of the game for Houston Power. They're up by 2.
Well, and just as Amanda was saying, this is where it's so hard to defend an athlete in this situation. She has 2 big home runs earlier, so I'm sure that the Storm knew that. They have their defense back, and that ball just gets hit in no man's land. So Martin coming up with the RBI single simply because she's able to dump that ball in between the infield and the outfield.
With the catcher over at first base, another courtesy running opportunity, and it'll be a different plan this time on the courtesy running assignment as Michaela Engelstad takes the duties. There's Michaela. It's her first chance to get on the bases and move around. 2 outs. Izzy Rollo, who walked and then scored her first time up last inning in the first. She's back up there in the second, the number 5 batter in the order. First pitch running, no throw down. Moving up into scoring position, Engelstad.
Typical first and third situation. Houston Power is going to take that 60 feet. Storm choosing not to throw.
And that steal is going to pay off as 2 runs will come home on the ball into the gap. Throw to second, dropped at 2, double in the books, and 2 RBI. Rollo cashes in for the Power.
Well, another pitch that's a little bit sweet in the zone. Look at the way this ball is a curve. It's going to lay over the plate and just gets peppered the opposite way. That is great hitting. Rollo just gets that ball into the gap. But you got to love, Thad, the way that this Houston Power team hits. Pitches on the outside corner. They let get deep. They explode the contact, drive it gap to gap. Inside pitch, they let it come into the inside part of the plate. Turn on it, drive it through the 5-6 hole. So this Houston Power team, you can tell, very efficient with their swings.
Pitching change for the Storm, and now we will see Danae Chapman. We talked about her when she came to bat in the first inning. Chapman, who doubled and drove in a run. We talked about her being 14 years of age. You'll get more chances today. We're going to keep you in the game, Amanda. Amanda's right. It was with 2 outs that those runs came in the first inning, and it's happening again here in the second. In the first inning, a ground out followed by a walk and then a line out to right field. And Arizona Storm had to be feeling fine about things with 2 down and 1 runner on, but then the damage happened. And it was Rollo with the 2 RBI single who did the big damage. 2 of those 3 runs driven in by Rollo. And now again, she drives in, let me take that back. It was Garcia with the 2 RBI single, scoring Rollo. And now here it's Rollo with the 2 RBI double that we just saw, who has extended it out to a 7-3 lead for Houston Power. But you're right, Amanda, the 2-out damage in these first 2 innings has been tremendous by the Power. And it's Garcia at the plate. She's the one I talked about who in the first inning had the 2 RBI singles. She's got a chance again. Runner over to third base. Rollo moved up. And Garcia, shortstop, number 6 batter. Having a good time in her TV performance here through the first couple innings. Fouls out between her legs, back to the third base side. Parents Bobby and Melissa. Bobby's back in Baytown, but mom Melissa able to make the trip here to Florida from Texas. Another Bryce Harper fan while we're dropping in Bryce Harper references. Takes something off, and it's a strikeout pitch. Chapman finishes it off with the 3rd out, but not before 4 runs cross the plate. 41 miles per hour on that last changeup to get the Storm off the field and to the bats. Michelle, a Florida resident these days. Well, when you're home, that is.
Yeah.
Amanda Scarborough, she hangs her boots or her spurs or her big belt buckle in Texas. I came here from Colorado. We've got this thing surrounded.
That's right.
Good to be in your home state, Michelle. And wow, what a Rising Stars, one of the top events in the country, but you know, a state like Florida with there's a ball chopped back to third base, 5-3. First out of the inning is recorded. Storm with 1 down, trying to work on that 7-3 deficit. State of Florida and the talent level we see here of the resident players, but also the influx of teams that will come here to play. Fantastic opportunity for players from this area to see teams from all over America. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, at every level, the game is just truly grown in the state of Florida. You've got great communities that support the sport, and you know, at the collegiate level, you've got the University of Florida, you've got University of South Florida. Kenny Erickson has done a great job of building that program in the Tampa Bay area, and that you Lonnie Alameda up at Florida State, Tim Walton at Florida, just all the way around at Division I level, and some of the smaller schools. Great softball in this state.
Power playing some ground ball defense here in the bottom of the second inning as Jackie Kelly hits it to the right side, pretty deep in the hole.
Well, good job of getting that ball on the ground. A lot of speed, as we talked about, from the Storm, but great job of defense by the Houston Power. Trevino to come over, scoop that ball up, and get it over to first in time.
It was Ashley Michelina, the leadoff batter for Arizona Storm, who ground out to third base. Ortiz made the play across to Marshall. And there Trevino picks up the ground ball from Jackie Kelly. Kelly and Michelina are ground out victims here in the bottom of the second, with their team trailing by 4. Another ball chopped on the infield. Chance for every infielder to make one, and this one will get away. Error on the throw. Runner won't move up. Hustling to get it back up. It's Rollo over at first base, making Rollo the first baseman who's going to chase that down.
All right, the throw a little bit high, gets away from the first baseman, and in that situation, I think the Power very lucky that Barnes does not turn the corner and go on to second base.
Swinging away, the Storm pretty aggressive in this inning, getting early in the count swings. Madison Danew walked her first time and scored. She's got a chance to do it again with 2 outs. Both teams have rolled their orders over by the second inning. The game is aired toward offense in the early going. A lot of times, interesting, you know, at this age level, any age level, but this is a 16 and under championship game. You would have the impression in this game that we may have 58 runs scored, but a lot of times you'll see those early punches thrown and then things will settle for a while.
Right.
Power would love to get out of here with no runs on the board. They were looking at a clean 3-batter inning, but that ground ball unable to turn that into an out, the Power.
Well, I think one of the things we're seeing too is that with the Storm, they had Carly Johnson in the circle, and I think she just couldn't close the door. She couldn't get that third out of the inning in both the first and the second. Again, having thrown 13 innings coming into this game, so sometimes it is the offense, but a lot of times too, it's a pitcher's inability to shut down that offensive threat.
Kerry Barnes was at first base off that throwing error, but she will not have a chance to move around the bases. Fly out to left field, taken in easily, and second is done. Power up by 4 of the Triple Crown TV series. To the top of the third inning we head, and the Houston Power back to the bats with a 4-run lead, 7-3 in the Rising Stars 16 and under championship game. 3 runs in the first, 4 runs in the second. Arizona Storm able to match the 3 in the first inning, but the difference here is that second inning, 4-0 is the inning count in the second, and that's established this lead. That ball tailing away in the Atlantic Ocean breezes here. Good job sticking with it for the first out. Not an easy play.
Now Marshall, the first baseman, doing a really good job of keeping her eye on this ball, following it in the fields as they kind of taper downhill as well for rain drain off. She does a good job of catching that, keeping her eye on the ball, knowing where the fences are. It's a tough out. Good job by Marshall to record that first out of the inning.
Pop out for Ortiz leads to Hernandez's second chance to bat. Melissa back in the box, popped out her first time to end the first inning. Now batting with 1 down here in the third. She hit that a lot, and foul. Power cut by Missy Hernandez.
Is just going to get extended, just drives that ball out in front of her front foot, so it goes foul, but whew.
Yeah, don't throw her anything back there. It's gonna go a ways.
Might need a little off speed.
Looks like one of those big things come in small packages situations. Missy showing some phenomenal pop. Chapman comes back with a strike delivery, 1-2 the count. Just enough to stay alive for Hernandez. Chopped it down underneath the catcher, Rom. Missy Hernandez of Pasadena, Texas. Fun to see all the Texan talent running around here. And now let's talk some Texas, Amanda.
So Carly Johnson, who started the game in the circle, is now playing second base. And when I am out here watching her play defense, she is staying in it. She might have gotten pulled from this game and is not pitching anymore. Kind of got hit around a little bit, but she is in it, keeping a positive attitude and talking to Danae Chapman in the circle now.
Good play by Rom behind the plate on the strike 3 dirt ball. Rom just buries it and finishes off the out.
Yeah, that's a great point, Amanda. It's so important to make sure that you're always in the game. Take a look at the ball as it gets away from Rom, but she's going to pick it up, get it right down, and there she is. You can see just what you talked about, Carly Johnson staying in the game, backing up behind first base on that play. And Amanda, you've played at all different levels as well as being a pitcher, being a defender, and a great hitter. You know how important it is when you're not in the circle to be able to contribute to your team.
Well, not only that, but there's such an important part of the lineup. Carly Johnson is, as well as Danae Chapman, hit 3 and 4 in the lineup for Storm. So it's really important for those two to stay in the game and not take defensive stuff into the offensive approach that they have at the plate.
That ball flies over the top. Rom laughing as she grabs that one. We've seen Chapman laughing too. And don't take that wrong. It's not that they don't care. They just know how to compartmentalize. That wasn't what we wanted.
No, you know, and sometimes I like to talk about it. Sometimes being effectively wild is an advantage. It's kind of like Bull Durham when the catcher comes out and Kevin Costner says, hit the bull. Because, you know, as a hitter, you don't want the hitter always digging in. You want them guessing. Where's the ball going to be? Is it going to be at my head, or is it going to be low and outside, or is it going to be up and inside? And, you know, sometimes a little bit of wildness can play to a pitcher's favor.
Chapman turns the count to 2-1 on the 55-mile-per-hour edge pitch. Well placed. Power sent 8 batters to the plate in the first inning, sent 8 in the second inning, and here's a chance for a 3-up, 3-down inning for the defense of the Arizona Storm. So 8 batters, and maybe 3 now. Marissa Trevino trying to keep that from happening. Trevino stands in against this pitch from Chapman. And she takes ball 4. We've had a runner on every inning, and every inning the damage has been with 2 outs, as Amanda pointed out and earned a Snickers bar earlier in our broadcast. So will they do it again in the third? It's been their mode today. The 2-out run scoring by the Power. Montemayor, strike 1 on the down and out edge. Chapman got it there at 57 miles per hour. Chapman, 14 years old. Again, we don't only worry about the speed, but at 57 miles per hour at 14, you're on your way.
Absolutely.
To being able to have plenty from the fastball side to really make your other pitches effective. That ball took a whack at our third base camera operator, but gonna have to do more than that to knock him off there. Perched high above the third base dugout. Thanks to our crew today. Combination of some South Florida crew and a few who traveled in from various locales. Appreciate their efforts today. Line out to third base, and the Storm will finish it off. Becky Ducar grabs the line drive. Chapman, she faces 4 batters in the inning. A pop out, a strikeout, a walk, and then that line out to third. Power will have the top of their order due up in the top of the 4th, and they've got the 4-run lead. But first, we'll play the bottom of the 3rd with the Arizona Storm down by 4. And looking to do something here with their 2, 3, 4 batters due up. Rom, Johnson, and Chapman. We head back to the bats now for the Arizona Storm and Hunter Rom. And she's on base. Good work by the number 2 batter in the order for the Storm, leading off this inning from her 2-hole. And hit by pitch.
Ball comes in, nicks the upper arm. Great job at turning away, though, from the pitch. So important not to turn into the pitch and expose your forearms.
Leadoff batter is on, and now the meat of the order, but a pop-up here is out number 1. Carly Johnson, first pitch swinging, pops it up to second base. Trevino makes the play. Pretty aggressive at the plate to this point in the game, the Storm, and I say that in all support. Love the approach.
Yeah, the Storm, again, one of those station-to-station type teams. They got to get people on base. Carly Johnson swinging first pitch in that last situation. You know, another thing to think about, both these programs, the third game of the day. Sometimes you want to try and work pitchers deep in the count.
Chapman to the right side. That'll drift out of play. I don't think it's windy by local standards. It feels a little windy, but there's always, every time I've been here, there's just that breeze, that sort of ocean breeze that you feel moving along, and the ball definitely moving from left to right, everything we've seen go up in the air today. Flag is billowing. You live here, Michelle. Is this windy or not? There's a pop-up.
It's a tad windy.
All right. Officially, Michelle has certified this as a windy day. That ball stayed just foul down the left field line. Chapman will come back to the plate. Here you see the effects of today's atmospheric conditions. But fantastic, right around 80 degrees,
yeah,
sunny.
Beautiful.
Good day to be out here playing. The Rising Stars just kicking off today, this showcase event. Today is day 1 of 3 of the showcase. 16 and 18-year-old teams gathered here. Chapman bounces it to second and taking the lead force out. Well played by Trevino.
Trevino doing a really good job of going after the lead runner. And this is a tough play, Thad. Look at the way she's going to have to come in first. Does the pitcher get it or not? She doesn't, so Trevino's going to pick it up, come back up the middle to her teammate. The shortstop doing a great job of covering Garcia's at the bag. So Trevino Garcia, great job to get that leadoff runner out and record the second out of the inning.
Down by 4, the Storm would like to put something on the board here in the bottom of the third. Becky Ducar has the bat. Chapman running, well, we've seen her go head first twice.
Yep.
It's an athletic young woman.
Yep, runs very well, slides hard into the bag. So important, though, to protect those hands, especially being a pitcher. See the way that she goes into the bag. I like to see a lot of kids either keep gloves on or make a fist coming into the bag. You don't want to jam up those fingers, especially being a pitcher. But both of these clubs doing a great job. Again, 16 and under. A lot of these kids, 14 and 15 years old, making very advanced plays, going after the lead runner, taking the extra 60 feet.
Shortstop bobbled just for a second, but not long enough for Ducar to beat it out, and Garcia, Jamie makes the play with the throw over to Rollo. Just like the teams who earn their way into this championship game on TV, these umpires selected for their merits as officials on the field, and they've done good work on behalf of not only Rising Stars, but players and games all up and down the line throughout the year. So congratulations to our 3 umpire crew, Bosshart, Jethro, and Small on the field today. Ball bounced to third base, and an out in the books. Ground out for the first out. Top of the order here for the Power in the top of the 4th. And the right trend for the defense of the Storm as they get out 1 on batter 1. That was Cameron Parker grounding out. Since Chapman came on, the pitcher, Danae, number 33 in your screen. Another run did cross the plate after she came in with some runners who were on base, but she's not allowed one of her own yet. Chapman has, so far, in her inning plus of work, slowed down the offense of the Power. Just now waiting for the Storm to catch back up with the bats, but they're going to have to fight their way off the field here. Power have been impressive at the plate today. Cashing in on a variety of things, some walks in the first inning, walks and a hit batter in that inning. Talked about how all 3 runs scored. I said they were all 3 off walks. One of them was a ball 4, but it hit the foot of the batter, so it's a hit by pitch officially in the book. And then in their 4-run second inning, one of those also on by way of the walk. So 4 of their 7 runs that have scored today got on base by way of the walk, being opportunistic and cashing those runs in. The Power doing good work at the plate. Also like the work behind the plate of Hunter Rahm, That ball got away, but what I liked there was nobody on base, and Hunter sold out on the block.
Yeah, she was still trying to keep it in front. You know, you gotta love that too, because those are the things that you're gonna do in a pressure situation when you've got to do it when there are people on base. So important to make sure that you're executing your skills at all times. Doesn't matter if it's practice in a situation where maybe there isn't someone on base, because it pays off when there is.
The little things. Plus, you can just kind of tell Hunter's a kid who she'd rather be blocking anyway. You know, keep myself active and amused back here.
Yeah.
Give me something to do. Like her athleticism, Hunter really has moved around well. You got Chapman right there pitching. She's shown athleticism today. The Storm, as a team, really have demonstrated some athletic ability. A lot of players who play multiple sports, capable of coordinating their bodies in various ways. This ball through the wickets at shortstop, and a runner on for the Power. Canada reaches.
See, this ball is just going to get hit right through the wickets, as you mentioned. So hard sometimes to play those balls. That important to keep that glove down on the ground. And see a little bit of pop hesitation as she comes up. Sometimes we start overthinking and worrying about the speed of the runner. Stay down. I always like to say glove open, stay down, ball in, and then you can either bring it up to your midline or up to your throwing shoulder. Whatever's comfortable, and then a nice quick snap off to first base.
Madison Danew had the ball go through her legs. You know Madison's going to work on that. Talked to her briefly before the game, loved her attitude. She's the one I said earlier, nicknamed Speedy.
Yeah.
One of those hard playing players who willing to work, and I'm sure she'll take the input that Michelle just gave, plus that of her coaches, and things will keep moving forward for the young player. 2016 grad is Madison. And with one out and one on, Power looking to extend on that 4-run lead.
You know, it's always a big discrepancy of whether a coach is going to allow a pitcher to hit or not. That is a question that I get asked all the time. Do you, as a coach, allow your pitcher to hit? And what I like about both the Power and the Storm teams that we're seeing today is they have pitchers who hit. And not only do they hit, but they are 3 and 4 in the lineup as we take a look at Kristen Coveney here. And
runner goes, runner is out. Throw down by Rom is on the mark, and the shortstop out there who we just talked about, Danew, lays the tag down for the second out, clear the bases off.
And I think it just goes to show of how athletic these pitchers are that are on the field today, including Danae Chapman and Carly Johnson, who's now playing second base. But big offensive hitters, and they have a big presence in the circle too.
Yeah, you look over the history of the sport, the Lizzie Hernandez, I used to get to hit Kaylani Ricketts. I mean, we could go on and on. Amanda Scarborough, great hitting pitchers, always makes a great opportunity for the offense and teams.
Having to step out for a minute. Looks like he's not feeling quite right, so Paul's going to take himself off the field and grab a replacement. Here's a ball to right center, run down. Nice play out in the right center gap for out number 1. Well played out there by Parker, who makes the out. It's Cameron Parker, the right fielder. Liz Cartwright was the leadoff batter, out number 1. That brings Delaney Marshall to the plate. Marshall grounded back to the pitcher back in the first inning.
Courtney Carraway coming in to throw now for the Houston Power. She's going to be dishing it from the left side with all these Arizona Storm lefties in the lineup. Should be an advantage.
That ball got a little bouncy at the end, took a funky hop. Well played, and the Power have 2 down quickly on the defensive side.
Yeah, that ball was all over the place. Good job by the Power to get that done.
Deandra Deflora, who has just checked in at shortstop. There you see Deandra just into the game, and give her a ground ball, but let's add a few funky hops to it and
exactly.
see how she can do.
First one off the bat.
The Marshall grounds out for out number 2, and that brings Ashley Michelina to the plate. Michelina grounded out her first time, trying to keep things rolling here with 2 down. Back into the fray with Amanda. What do you have, Amanda?
Well, Michelle, I don't know if you noticed, but I feel like that always happens. Whenever you go into the game and you're fresh into it and you're a sub and you go out there for the first inning and with the first or second ball of the whole inning is hit to you, always getting tested as soon as you go out into the game.
Yeah, exactly, and not just hit at you as an opportunity, but hit at you with a lot of spin on it, it seems.
That ball rolled slowly, but played well. Good defense by the Power in the bottom of the fourth. Something I like here about the Houston Power's approach to this television game is the fact that they're mixing things up. They're changing some players around. They're in a ball game here, but they're not just going to sit on the same players the whole game. Got another new face in. Corey Burrow moves into the number 4 spot in the batting order, taking over at catcher for Kirsten Martin. It is a showcase tournament. This is a showcase TV game, and I love the approach here. Sometimes you see coaches they're so worried about the W, for lack of a better way to put it, that they don't make those changes. They don't remember the spirit of part of what this event's all about, which is get them seen. And it's great to see that Burrow here gets her chance, and you don't really drop off either. The rosters are thick, they're talented, they're solid, they're strong, and good move here mid-game, mid to late part of the game, up 7-3. Burrow has a chance.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because kids don't sign up to sit on the bench. I mean, kids sign up to play sports in order to participate, and you get to see that. And there's a great point, Thad. So she comes in and rockets the ball into left field.
Solid single, well played in left field on the catch attempt, but more importantly, not allowing the ball to get through. Michelina keeps it in front to keep things only to a single on that rocket by Burrow.
Yeah, Burrow doing a great job of just rotating on this ball off the bench. First look at a pitch. Look at that. Pitch on the outside corner. She's going to catch it early and drive it on a line to left field. Great piece of hitting. I tell you, I'm impressed, Thad, with the way this Houston Power team has swung the bat.
Another solid swing, shot foul down the third base line. And another first at bat in this televised game for the Power. It's Kelly Montgomery. Kelly of Bel Air, Texas. Coming back from an ACL tear is Kelly Montgomery. Another base hit, so the two new batters sent in here, checked in on a 58-mile-per-hour pitch there. It's Kelly Montgomery, solid single.
Now again, backside, nice rotation on that hip, front foot down and steady. So look at the way they get their front foot down before the hands ever move forward. What that does is it steadies your eyes. You see so many kids in fast pitch softball, hands and foot come forward together. There's no separation. You need a little bit of negative in the upper body, front foot down to come positive, steadies the eyes, allows you to hit the ball for power.
This ball fouled down the right side with nobody out and the first two runners on, and another first-time AB taking over at shortstop last inning and handling the defensive part of the assignment, now with a chance to hit. Deandra Deflora. Deandra's parents, Delbert and Lucretia, are here in Florida from Texas watching, and Amanda might have a little more for us on Deandra.
Well, to even get to this game, the Houston Power had to beat the Gold Coast Hurricanes, and it was a 2-2 game, I think going into the 5th inning, but it was Deandra Deflora who hit a 2 RBI single with 2 outs, of course, as this Houston Power team loves to do.
Deflora, who says her favorite sports moment, when I didn't touch home plate on my first home run. Got a little sense of humor about her talents as well. Remembers the time when she finally got one out and then forgot to touch the plate. Big moment. Kind of get excited, forget about the little details.
Yep.
It's understandable. And still hitting them here in Florida is the 2015 grad, 16 years of age, is Deandra. Lifts this one toward the left, wind moving it around a little bit, not too bad. Handled in left field for the first out, a big out for the Storm defense after a couple of singles to get things started. Deflora flies out. And that for the Power brings Treslin Ortiz to the plate, facing Danae Chapman, the pitcher ready to go, waiting on Ortiz to step in. Swinging first pitch is Ortiz, and that one gets just foul out of play into the trees.
Hey, Pink, in the dugout, please.
Treslin says one thing she likes about playing the game of softball is girls always cheer each other on instead of breaking each other down. Really likes the positive support. It's the culture of what she's experienced in the game. Nobody at the bag with the third baseman moving in, and the shortstop not yet behind. The runners take it.
Well, this is a situation where you do a fake bunt to pull in the third baseman, and then you steal. And what happens is when the third baseman comes in, there's a little bit of a lack of communication on who's covering the bag. The shortstop thinks the third baseman's going to come back, but because of the sneaky or the fake sneaky bunt, it pulls that third baseman up. So that's a very well offensively run play. Defensively for the Storm, they need to communicate on that a little bit better.
Chapman comes back at 56 miles per hour and just misses strike 3. 1-2 count with one down. Some trouble here for the Storm. Strikeout would be a big help. Snap throw down to third, just late on the dive back. In successfully is Burrow. Continuing behind the plate, Hunter Rahm. He's caught all 5 here for the Storm. Among a catcher's favorite things to do, the snap throw. Always fun to get up and see if you can take somebody off the bags. This ball driven towards center. Diving effort, and the ball is down. Extra bases, 2 of them and maybe 3. Here comes the throw. 2 runs are in, and the triple for Treslin Ortiz on a 2-strike pitch. 9-3 Power out to a 6-run lead.
Ortiz just going to take this ball deep into the gap. You can see it's on the outside corner. Gets extension, keeps her head down, and just drives it. Nice effort by Jackie Kelly in center field, just out of her reach. That ball's going to get all the way to the wall. And Houston Power again showing that they are appropriately named with a lot of pop off the bat, Thad.
Yeah, they're just a home run shy of the team cycle today. Got the triple, the double, some singles in the books. And it's Ortiz who has a couple of hits in the game now. An RBI single in the first and a 2 RBI triple in this 5th inning. It's driven in 3 of the 9 runs for the Power. Missy Hernandez likes to go by Missy, and we're now close friends, so we'll call her Missy. Got to know her a little better today.
Right.
Missy is in the box, and on the day, a pop out and a strikeout. Rahm, nice block. Runner at third, and good work by Rahm to contain that runner at third base. Dave King of Triple Crown leadership fame has just arrived, and I'll tell you where Dave just came from. Well, did you go via Colorado on this trip? But no. Dave just spent a couple of days in Boston watching games 1 and 2 of the World Series. Runner's going to come home on the bouncing pitch again. Rahm blocks. This one, though, caroms off of Rahm and allows the runner Ortiz, who tripled, to now come to the plate. And the 10th run of the game on the board for the Power, Michelle.
Well, Rahm tries to block this, but look at the key. Nobody on the infield is even moving, so Rahm does a good job of trying to keep the ball in front, but the rest of the infield needs to help participate on that. First base needs to try to come in and cover the dish as Rahm vacates, but also that left side needs to move. Third base, shortstop, they should have been going after that ball. They were kind of planted there, Thad.
Missy Hernandez, again, I'm pretty sure it's the same. She's the one we saw hit a rocket down the third base line earlier. Just did it again. Missy showing some power on the swing. And her team now with a 10-3 lead with nobody out in the top of the 5th. And I will update you on the run rule scenarios in this championship game. This ball gets through, single, and the hit parade continues. 4th hit of the inning in 5 batters to the plate for Houston Power as they are getting to Chapman now. They've kind of settled in against the big righty who took over back in the 2nd inning, and that will lead to another circle visit here for the Storm. Rahm's going to go probably take off the gear. The catcher looks like she's heading out and going to make a catcher change, get a few things switched around, and good move here by the coaches. They've already got their new catcher dressed up, ready to go. So right onto the field comes Sammy Galvez. Sammy will take over behind the plate. Well, as we make that transition in a 10-3 ball game, Michelle Smith is with me. I'm Thad Anderson. Amanda Scarborough's out in the mess somewhere here trying to stay alive in the throng of people. And Dave King has joined us. Dave, the CEO of Triple Crown Sports based in Fort Collins, Colorado. As we said, you just came
Fresh from Fenway Park, Dave, how'd it go at the World Series?
Yeah, that was a great experience. One of our 25-year employees has battled cancer, and so we bucket listed him into the 2 games, so he got to see St. Louis make mistakes, and then last night see Boston make mistakes, and so but it was great experience. I mean, it makes what all these girls do. You realize how good these girls have gotten over the years compared to, the distance is not there, meaning they all know what they're doing anymore.
It's Rod Crawford is the Triple Crown retiree who is putting up a good fight against his cancer challenge, and Rod a chance to go with Dave, taking a couple World Series games. You saw a win by each team, so we've got at least a 5-game series about to unload in the World Series side. And Dave, the Rising Stars experience, we've talked a few times on these broadcasts from Plantation over the last couple of years. Last year in a bog of a storm, and this year in a great weather day. The beat goes on at Rising Stars. I know that not only this event, but there's a lot going on this weekend and showcasing around the country.
Well, you take the United States. Right now there's a distinct fall season that the college coaches follow these girls in, and it really starts mid-October and goes to Thanksgiving, and they're trying to make all their early decisions on their juniors and seniors, their last decisions on their seniors of what to do. So you've got college coaches spread throughout America. It used to be just this event was going on now, and now we have our 14s and 16s in Houston this week, and then we have a big blast of teams playing all over the country in different regional showcases. So this is the month now for college recruitment or college placement.
And a lot happening here in Plantation and Davie, the Fort Lauderdale area. Another 120-plus team event at Rising Stars. Chapman throws this past the bat of the power hitter, and I think we might have ourselves another change. Courtney Carraway is now taken over in the spot for Trevino. Carraway came into pitch previous inning. This is Carraway's first at-bat in this championship tilt. 10-3 the score, power on top.
When we made this switch over to the 16-year-old bracket, and I think a lot of it was both of you that we need to see a new group of teams in each of our televised events throughout the country. And so in your take early on in this 16, 18-year-olds versus now this 16, these freshmen, sophomore, 8th graders, what's your take, Michelle, of the talent pool and what you're seeing moving over to this bracket?
Yeah, absolutely. Very skilled, Dave. I mean, these kids are the future of softball. A lot of times the seniors, the 17s and 18s, they already know where they're going. This is the generation that a lot of these college coaches are looking for when they know that their senior and junior class are going to be leaving. So knowing that the next 2 to 3 years, where do I need to displace those scholarships to reload my program? And these kids, very talented, very schooled. You can tell that they are playing year-round, hence all the fall softball that's going on.
Ball down to the left side, and that'll load the bases up. Throw behind is not going to get any outs, and it's Montemayor, the number 10 batter, now 2 for 3 on the day. A couple of singles. Montemayor again with the bat, keeps the offense moving.
When you see the switch, over the years, Michelle, you going back from 40 to 43, and then the correction by the hitting instructors to teach at a very young level the fundamentals of great hitting, you see the need to get the ball down with movement to get ground ball outs now more than ever in this game. The hitters have evolved to the level of the pitching.
Oh, absolutely. And, at the 40-foot game, the offense was more like protectionism. You're like, I just got to try to make contact. At 43 feet, you can have great swings. You can see the ball. You can track the ball. And absolutely, the pitchers have to learn to locate the ball low in the zone, to get the ground out, as you mentioned, and change speeds. Those are the biggest things that we say when you're working with kids throughout the country. It's all about placing the ball on the corners, down in the zone, and off-speed pitches.
Cameron Parker pops one up, foul, diving effort.
And I think in the 16 and under pitching, the refinement level of these gals right now being able to just spot up all the time, I would say that probably is a difference of watching these young ladies. They don't spot up quite as easily of being able to hit those corners as their 18-year-old counterparts.
Correct, yeah.
Liz Cartwright made the diving effort from third base, and a pitch coming again to Cameron Parker, who fouls it off. Top of the order here, Cameron Parker. Just so you're aware, the run rules in this game, 8 after 5. Using ASA run rules, 8 runs after 5. This is the visiting team batting, so it's a 7-run lead right now. Bases loaded, 1 out. So one more run across for the power would put the Storm in jeopardy of a run rule in the bottom of the 5th. If it's an 8-run lead when this
inning ends, it will be ball game. Fouled off in front of the plate. Let's check back in with Amanda.
Well, you guys are talking about all the physical assets that these players have, that they can hit the ball further, that they're quicker. But when you look out on the field, they just have a different presence. I feel like this is a 16U team that we're watching, but I feel like they look older whenever they're out there. And that's such an important asset of the game that doesn't get talked about a lot, is the way that they are composed and the way that they go out there and compete.
Well, you know, Amanda, you work with young ladies in the Texas area a lot. Do you see an evolution of the youth game to where these kids, the polish skills are just different than they were 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think so, but I also think that that's a big effort in relation to the coaching is getting better wherever these girls are going. With Michelle mentioned earlier, private lessons, their tournament ball coaches, but the sport is just growing from the TV coverage to the knowledge that is all around this country of the sport. So if the knowledge gets better, then the players are inevitably going to get better as well.
Engelstad takes the at-bat. Hitting in the number 2 spot now is Engelstad with the bases loaded. You know, it's 10-3, but it's a pretty big play right here. If the Storm can keep a run from coming home, then they at least earn themselves a couple more at-bats. If the Power can cash at least one of these in, they've got a chance for the knockout blow on defense in the bottom half. This ball is doinked to the left side and snagged. And if it bounced or not, whatever the case, it was caught or isn't out. It was out over there, and that will end the inning. Leave it at a 7-run margin. 10-3 is the count. Power hanging up 3 more, and they have a commanding lead here at the 16-year-old championship game at Rising Stars. People said it earlier, I want to say it again to our crew today, working our game, our broadcast crew, production crew. Thanks for all your efforts today. We got Martin Tarr producing today out of Arizona, and Curtis Lorenz directing. He's out of Kansas City. I came from Colorado. You're from Florida. Amanda from Texas.
That's right.
Again, all points. It's a convergence here to South Florida for today's activities, and the Power have their leadoff batter on in the top of the 6th inning with another base hit. Corey Burrow, who batted last inning for her first time and singled and then scored. And here she hits it hard, but this one will not get down. Line out to left field for 1 away.
Power continuing to hit the ball hard even when they do hit it at the Storm. We talked to this team earlier, and first thing I asked them, what defines your team? They said, we're a good hitting team. We hit for power, but we also have good pitching, great chemistry. They have a lot of fun. And they look like it out on the field. They've been relaxed today, Thad, and just really enjoying the sport and being out on a ball field on a beautiful Florida day.
Kelly Montgomery working on extending the enjoyment of this beautiful Florida day. And here she drives a ball deep but foul. One of the longest hit balls we've seen today. Will carry out of play. Good power stroke on the pitch.
Ball located, and she just catches it a little bit early. You can see that contact's out in front of her front foot. Need to let that get a little deeper behind the front foot. Try and drive it into the gap.
Pitch coming to Montgomery. That one bounces and the runner moves up. It's Coveney, the runner, moving to second base. And Montgomery now a chance to drive in that potential run rule run, Amanda.
We have to remember that this is the 3rd game that both of these teams are playing, and it's not just physically taxing, but it's also really mentally taxing, especially with being a pitcher. You're in every pitch trying to think about the next pitch and how you want to set hitters up, and the amount of at-bats that you're getting on a day that you have 3 games is really high.
This ball hit to a tweener spot, but everybody retreats, makes the play. Storm defended it well. And the out in the books. Ashley Michelina able to record the out. The runner does move up. Now 2 away in the inning. As Montgomery grounds out 4-3. And brings back Deandra Deflora, her second at bat of the game. Pitch bounced in and kept in front again with the runner down at third base. Got to work at it. Sammy Galvez catching. This ball chopped at the plate, foul. Runner at third base, Coveney. Courtney mentioned, said, I may be a girl, but I love hunting and fishing. She also wanted to say thanks to her parents for nonstop support.
That's great.
And in fact, coming from Katy, Texas, her dad BJ is in Florida with her today. Mom Kim surely watching back home. Big part of the puzzle. You watch them play between the lines. Wow, they're good, but you know there's so much that goes into the production of being part of one of these teams. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's a big experience for a young person. It's a way to get better at not just the game, but at life. And parents have to be pretty committed to play at this level. Ground ball, shortstop, and out recorded. So the Storm defense holds up to the challenge. They don't let in that run, will run. Jackie Kelly on the ground out, and the Storm will bat again, down by 7.
Seriously, that's a bow and a band, a headband and a bow.
Band bow?
A band bow, bow band.
Hunter Rahm, the batter here. Hunter handled catching duties for the first large portion of the game. And now standing in to lead off the bottom of the 6th. Their team down 10-3. Pitch in, 1-1 count. For Houston Power, they have had their way today after a 3-3 score after 1 inning. They put up 4 in the top of the 2nd to make it 7-3, and they have not looked back, leading 10-3. Claire Stringfellow now pitching. Another lefty out there in the circle. Stringfellow gets strike 2, a 1-2 count. Stringfellow kept that pitch down 55 miles per hour and low in the zone. Claire out of Houston. Another Trisha made the trip to Florida. We'll say hi to Dad Wes back in Houston. Takes a little more speed off of that thing and sends it down to the dirt again. No offer by Rahm. Rahm, a catcher, a little advantage there. Seen pitch spins and pitch grips a little more than most, and read that well on the 41-mile-per-hour Temptation. Fouled it off her front shin, or her right shin. That
Ouch.
looked a little painful. A smile on her face, though, and Hunter's back at it. Saw her grimace when she first turned around, but quickly smiled and just grabbed her bat back from Carly Johnson, the on-deck batter who came and handed it to her. I like Hunter. I like all of them, but I enjoyed watching Hunter play today and the way she goes about her business.
Plays with a lot of passion.
That ball is foul tipped and bounced out of the glove. So she stays alive, does Rahm. So Hunter will still be in the box. It's Burrow catching for Houston Power at this stage of the game with nobody out.
Michelle, being a left-handed hitter, how did you think it was different facing a left-handed pitcher than a righty?
Well, I just think it's not fair. Granted, I'm a left-handed pitcher as well, so I always was licking my chops when a lefty got in the box. But it is really different, especially a great pitcher that can hit a curveball in the outside corner, runs away from you as a lefty. I think the biggest thing is lefties, we have a tendency to pull off the ball and want to run down the line. So important to stay locked in, try to drive the ball gap to gap, but really follow that ball off the left hip and read it all the way through the strike zone. It's a great point, Amanda.
How much would you like to hit off of Monica Abbott?
Not really.
Have you ever done that before or no?
You know what? No, I did not hit off of, I've hit off Kat Osterman and a lot of the other lefties, but not off of Abbott. I probably, she throws the smoke, and I think as long as she was keeping it on the outside corner, I would feel okay as long as it wasn't too close to my head.
Another good change there by Stringfellow as she finally induces the out from Rahm on a tough at-bat, but it's Stringfellow winning that on the 1-3 put out. In our greetings to Monica Abbott, wherever she may be. Last time we were all together, Amanda, Michelle, myself, we had Monica with us in Colorado for the Sparkler and Fireworks televised games. Good to have Monica as part of that group. And looking at these bio sheets that a variety of players filled out, I know Monica Abbott was mentioned as a favorite player by a number of our participants today, and Kat Osterman actually mentioned by the current pitcher, Claire Stringfellow. Claire, interesting little sidelight about her. She's had her own frequent flyer account since she was 2 months old, she told us. Born in California, moved to Alabama when she was 2 months old, moved to London when she was 2.5 years old, back to Houston when she was 3. Claire has seen a bit of the world in her young life, 15 years of age. A 2016 grad is Claire, and 9-year-old brother Grant. Howdy ho back to the young bro, who is probably a little freaky to see her sister pitching on TV. There's a line drive to shortstop and another out. Power continuing to power through the batters. The continuing at shortstop. Deandra Deflora made the catch. Danae Chapman now stepping in against Stringfellow, the pitcher.
Well, I think that one of the things that really just sticks out about this Power team, the Houston Power, you can tell they just enjoy each other. They enjoy playing with each other. A lot of great chemistry. It's one of the first things that that they said to me when we were speaking with them earlier is how much fun they have together. And you know, that I can't you can't talk about that. You can't you know, really put the point down to teams, especially young teams, that you have to enjoy the people that you're around in order for your team to be successful.
Chapman fouls it away. And both teams, you know, most of the teams that operate at this level who can get to this point in a bracket, we've seen so many great things over the last few years. We saw it again today when we met these teams after their semifinal wins. You know, the joy and the energy they had, they become a bunch of young people just laughing and having fun. And you know, you would look at them and wouldn't imagine they're these machines, these team machines in the field. But that has a lot to do with it when they're able to just relax with each other and be themselves. Also, you know, I want to throw out Claire Stringfellow. We mentioned her brother Grant, 9 years old, and she said, just tell him, I love my little brother. He has a peanut allergy, and he can't always come to the ballpark because there's peanuts all over the place, and a lot of those. And she said she knows that Grant sacrificed quite a bit for her to play the sport she loves. And Claire, the pitcher, right now, she says to her brother Ryan, hey, I love you. Thanks a lot for helping me do what I love doing. And, you know, we talk about the teams and the chemistry, and then you extend that to the family chemistry. And we talk about coaches who help raise good young players and lead them to the level of being able to operate like this. But so much of it comes, in my opinion, with education along with sports, with how you do in school and how you do in sports. It starts with you yourself, and then it goes to the parents, and then it goes to your support network like coaches, teachers. And Claire showing a pretty savvy outlook at 15 to understand that even her 9-year-old brother is a key part of her package. Here she's going to give up the walk to Chapman, and not always the worst thing. If Danae doesn't swing it, you're probably doing okay.
Yeah, exactly.
She can do a lot of damage. So Chapman's on safely at first with the walk. And Becky Ducar will come back to the plate. Becky 1 for 2 in this game. A single squeezed in a run was how she got that hit. As it was not a fielder's choice on that play. It was a good bunt, and the throw came to the plate. Would have been safe probably anywhere on the way that bunt went down. So Ducar executed back in the first inning. Back when things were good for the Storm, they scored all 3 of those runs they have on the board way back in the first. Here's a run out by Chapman, and she'll steal a bag again. Second time we've seen her go head first into second base with a steal. Danae Chapman safely in there.
Chapman runs very well, aggressive. I like the way she gets off the bag, sneaks a peek, makes sure the ball's not put to play, dives in immediately though, finds the ball, gets into the outfield, and she's up in case there's a secondary play. It's a 14-year-old who's very well schooled.
Ball chopped right in front of the plate, hopping up. Burrow throws it, and the out made. Power continue to play solid defense, and we are through 6 innings. Houston Power 10, Arizona Storm 3. 10, Arizona Storm 3, as we've hit our final frame of this 16-year-old championship game. And the Power, they have controlled this from the early going all the way back to the top of the second when they took the lead that would never go away and just grow. It was 3-3 after 1, and then 7-3 after the top of the second. And the Power, a combination of run scoring, but more importantly, just solid defense, airtight defense. They made their outs, and they scored all 10 of these runs in 3 different innings, a 3-run inning, a 4-run inning, and a separate 3-run inning. So the damage came in explosions here for the Power today. And they've got their last chance to hit, leading by 7. Ball drifted out towards second base, and that will be out number 1. Storm getting the first of what they hope is a quick 3. That was Treslin Ortiz leading it off. Now Missy Hernandez to bat. Ball bounces in for ball 1. I wanted to mention, by the way, Dave Polvardi has taken over behind home plate. He's been there for a few innings now. We mentioned that Paul Bosshart had to take himself out of the game. Looked like he wasn't feeling well. I haven't heard an update, but hopefully Paul is get some fluids and bounce back, be able to get back out here on the diamond, thanks to Dave Polvardi jumping in there with Anthony Small at third base and Bernard Jethro at first base to cap off this game. So Dave gets a random appearance in the TV game. behind the plate. And has done a solid job back there, no less, since checking in. This ball fouled away. Really umpiring crew across the board today, very on top of it, running a nice ball game for us. Appreciate their efforts. Dave was ready to go. He was already dressed up and waiting, so we didn't have a long delay. Dave just stepped right in for Paul and picked us up and didn't miss a beat. Flashes up the 2-1 count on his fingers there. And now we'll make it a 2-2 count on that strike call. Looks like it was Ashley Michelina who took over out at second base, if I've got that right. They've been moving them around here and can't always see the backs of their jerseys to verify the players that we just met about an hour and a half ago, or make it about 2 hours ago now. But, good rotations by the coaches on both sides. Bill Cannelli and Brian Tyler running the Storm show, along with Dana Guggen, the pitching coach. And for Houston Power, we talked to him earlier, John Glowaz, joined by Jeff Korioth, coaching up Power in this championship game today. Still a lot of fun left here for these teams. This is just day 1 of 3. They get to play on TV right out of the gates. You come in, play a couple ball games to start the 3-day event. You're on TV. Oh, geez, I don't know, 15% of the way into your weekend experience.
Yeah.
Interesting format here to make sure that the showcase television portion happens, but then they just keep playing ball, pool play against teams from all over the United States. And again, like we talked about, college coaches working all around the ball fields here on their recruiting efforts. Fun weekend for all these young players. On base with the walk is Hernandez with 1 out.
Well, I like to see, too, the way that, as you mentioned, Thad, that a lot of these coaches are shifting the kids around. They're getting a lot of good looks because this is an exposure tournament where college coaches are trying to get a good look at kids. And, you know, a lot of times when I do camps and clinics, the same things. We call them developmental because we're working with the kids, but they're exposure because the kids are getting a look by these college coaches. And a lot of times that's really what it comes down to, is that, you know, these kids want the opportunity to go on and play ball. And there's so many at all different levels, from junior college to Division 1, 2, and 3. NAIA, you name it, there's a lot of spots out there.
Hernandez on the run, steals second base. Claire Stringfellow, the batter. Claire will look at a 3-0 pitch with a teammate out at second base and 1 down.
Well, I really feel like this game, even this simple game right now, just gives a lot of insight as to what it's like to be a 16U tournament ball player and how important every game is when you're out here playing in front of college coaches and trying to catch someone's eyes, because really your future depends on it. So as much pressure as these young ladies have out on the field right now, it being a TV game and a championship game, there's a lot of college coaches out here watching, and their eyes are on them, trying to see what kind of players they want for their future teams.
Well, that's a great point, Amanda. And it's not just the players, what kind of people they are as well. They look at the little things. Do they hustle on and off the field? Do they help pick up garbage in the dugout? Or how do they talk to their parents, to their coaches, to their teammates? Those are the little things, the X factors that make a really big difference when you're getting recruited.
Yeah, and you better believe that all the college coaches are looking for those things. If you talk to them, it's not just the player who hits a home run or gets a strikeout. It's all the intangibles as well that they want to be a part of their program and a part of their team, because that's really what it comes down to once you get to that college level. There's a lot of those intangibles that make a good team, that has good team chemistry and play the type of softball that you want to be around day in and day out.
Alexa Montemayor, the batter, chops this foul, and runners will head back. Runners at first and second. Hernandez out at second base, Stringfellow at first, both by way of the walk. 1 out on the pop-up to lead off the inning. And the Power trying to add on here, kind of some style points. Victory lap with a 7-run lead in the top of the 7th. But some of these players, their first at-bat here comes in the 7th, so it's their chance, as Amanda and Michelle were just talking about, to show a little more of what they've got. Montemayor grounds that, and a force out of Hernandez at third base for the 2nd out.
This ball is going to be hit the opposite way. You can see it's off the plate, but a great job by the left side of the Storm infield to get the lead runner.
Pitch bounces, runners stay at first and second. On the work behind the plate there, again containing the runners, Sammy Galvez. And between both of us here, Carly Canada, looking at our official stats book as well. Getting a little, Carly Canada's in the box right now, and I think I missed me a leadoff batter somewhere here. I don't know if the coaches, at this stage of the game, it's they're making sure somebody got a hit, and we're just kind of moving things around. And, whatever the result, it's a ground ball, slow roller, and the speed pays off as Carly Canada, the 14-year-old freshman, legs out the infield hit. Canada on base, keeps the inning alive for the Power with the bases loaded.
Canada crosses over and hits the ball off the end of the bat, so it's really tough play for the right side of the infield for the Storm, but Canada with all that speed gets down the line, loads up the bases for the Houston Power.
And Michaela Engelstad now batting. Michaela, a nice approach in the box, like the way she gets herself ready to hit aggressively. Took a good hack. Another thing I really liked when you were chatting with Amanda a moment ago about the intangibles and the recruitables. Picking up trash in the dugout. That's Amanda Scarborough and Michelle Smith telling you that's true. Because coaches say it, you know, pick it up, clean it up, leave it better than you found it. Do something. Be a good citizen is basically what you're talking about. And I know a lot of young players thinking, but if I do that, I pick up a Snickers wrapper, and the girl next to me just hit a bomb. Nobody's going to care about what I did. Somebody cares.
Yeah.
It does matter. The bomb doesn't hurt, but I thought I'd just touch back on that because among the things I love the most about a team, and you talked earlier about a team that plays well together, that understands how to take themselves to that next level, because talent can only get you so far.
Right.
It's those things, those players who are willing to do that next step for a team, as little as clean something up, make something look better, put something away. All those things do pay off somewhere, whether it's in your scholarship or whether it's in just your life in general.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I strongly second your point about picking up trash in the dugout, as simple and silly as that might sound to some people. Another ball dropped in front of the plate on a slow roller, and this time Chapman will pick it up and get the out. So no runs come across. The Power took a shot at something else, but they won't score anymore, and the Storm going to need a big rally in the bottom of the seventh. And so they put up these temp fences, creates a pretty cool opportunity for people to lay around in the grass and soak it up here in South Florida. Enjoy a great afternoon. Tough play and safe at first. The Storm with the leadoff batter aboard on another, what's that, about a 41-foot travel and a base hit.
Well, it's all about locating the ball down. It's kind of a half swing bunt, and because of that, it throws off the infield. Good job coming off of the pitching rubber. But, a lot of times those full swing bunts or half swing bunts can be really tough to play.
Cartwright will move up. So after the infield hit by Lizzie Cartwright, she now heads down to second base, running on the ball in the dirt. And she moves up, still doing everything they should be doing out there. The Storm facing a 7-run deficit. Build it 1 run at a time here. Delaney Marshall. Didn't like anything about her own swing that time. She's going to pick up the bat and try again. On a 54-mile-per-hour delivery from Stringfellow. The catcher Burrow hopping up, keeping herself active behind the plate. Corey, 15 years old, she's catching it. Corey Burrow. Corey said, we asked her what was unique about her, or maybe strange. She said, I'm bilingual. English and sarcasm are her 2 languages. Nice pitch on the lower part of the zone. Well spotted there. Nice placement.
Stringfellow working that drop ball low in the zone, hitting the low inside corner. It can be a tough pitch to hit. Lefty-lefty matchup, coming down and in at your toes. Tough to get around that ball.
And tried to induce the swing on another down pitch, but ball 4 is the result, and the first 2 runners aboard for Arizona Storm. Single and a walk. Coaches for the Storm considering a runner here, I think, is what they're talking about, and they will beckon Becky Ducar is what they're thinking about doing. I don't think she's eligible to run based on her previous participation, so they're going to send her back. Kind of digging through the dugout right now. Let's see who we have. Who's our runner? Batting here with nobody out and 2 on. Ashley Michelina out of Gilbert, Arizona. Some call her Smashly, and that would be just fine right now for the Storm's offense. I'd love to see Smashly get a hold of something here. Three state championships this year for Ashley and various organizational championship events. So 3 times taking the top prize in the big battles in Arizona. More strong memories that'll stick with you forever, I'm sure, and Ashley already appreciates it. That'll only get better over time. You enjoy it in the moment, 20 years from now you might even enjoy it more.
Yeah. It's really neat too when you show up to some of the tournaments and you meet people that you played against, and now their kids are playing ball, and you know we're starting to see that. Since Title IX came through in 1972, we're now seeing moms who have played sports in their younger years, and they have young girls, and now these young girls are playing sports. And you know, if you talk to my mom's generation, a lot of them didn't have the opportunity to play sports, especially team sports. It's
a great point. The second generation now is starting to turn over, and the more of these bio sheets we read too, you see more when we ask about any other athletes in your family you want us to be aware of, you're starting to see more kids putting mom played somewhere. So you're right, starting to get the legacy stuff, the pass downs, and the lore, the stories, and that's how you build it. It becomes sort of a family tradition, a point of experience for a common bond. Hardest working framer in the catching business. Burrow really worked on that pitch, liked it, wanted it, but did not get the call. Full count up on the board now with 2 on and nobody out. Defense still pinched in here at the corners, and there's a swing through. Michelina, aggressive cut, and out number 1 of the bottom of the 7th inning.
Take a look at the location of the pitch. Burrow's going to do a good job of going down and making the catch, but it just shows that her glove movement, how much that ball is moving.
Jackie Kelly bounces it 5-6 on the putout. Shortstop covering in behind was Deflora. Picking it up was Hernandez. You don't see that direction for an out very often.
No.
Nicely handled on the left side.
Yeah, good.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them just doing a good job of communicating. So important in that situation because typically when the third baseman is going to get the ball, the play will be behind them. So communicating, knowing where the bag is and who's coming in and covering, always very important in that particular play because as I mentioned, the play is going to happen back behind you. So it's important for that that shortstop to really talk to the third baseman and let them know where they're at.
Kerry Barnes in the box with 2 outs. The last gasp here for Arizona Storm, trailing by 7. The number 2 of Becky Ducar there at second base, the runner. Barnes, 3-0 count. Appeal on that last pitch, no swing. She'll swing through it, run through it. Barnes out of Phoenix, who a among a number of players, but she's definitely one of them who brings a good attitude to the ball field, makes sure she keeps the right approach in good or in bad situations. And here, going to ground out to end the 16-year-old championship contest. And congratulations to Houston Power making the trip to Florida from Texas. And they get a square off with an Arizona team here in South Florida, taking home a 10-3 convincing victory. It was tied at 3 after the first inning, but from that point on, the Houston Power overpowered Arizona Storm. And they start off on the first day of a 3-day trip to Florida with a feather in their cap, the championship of the Rising Stars 16 and under elite bracket. Houston Power, the unofficial stats on the screen there, 14 hits to just 4 for Arizona Storm. And the hitting was, you know, not necessarily that power, just overpowering impressive hitting, but it was fundamentally consistently sound throughout the game from inning 1 to inning 7.
Yeah, absolutely. And they took advantage of what the Storm gave them, which were a lot of free passes in the first couple innings. So that right there put the big spot up on the board. They had the 3 spot and then the 4 spot following. So, you know, those 2 first innings really kind of did the damage, but all the way around, the Houston Power, you know, love the team chemistry, and just the way they fundamentally play the sport.
A few more images, faces to see after we take a quick timeout. We'll wrap it up after this. It's all in the books in the Houston Power. The pink jerseys heading off and on to their next stage of the showcasing here in Florida, but get to enjoy the taste of a championship on day 1, winning 3 games this morning, the quarters, the semis, and the championship, beating Arizona Storm 10-3 for the top spot in the 16-year-old elite championship bracket. Thad Anderson, Michelle Smith, Amanda Scarborough, and a couple of Ducks joining you here from Plantation as we wrap things up of game 1, but don't go anywhere. The All-American game is up next, and 50+ players are surrounding us right now. In about a half an hour, they will take the field and showcase their abilities, and we look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's always great. You see a different pitcher every inning, and you get all kinds of great things to look at, and a couple of brains like yourselves, a couple of intellectual softball, both physical and intellectual masters. Michelle, the thing we just saw here, these 16s, and you and Dave King talked about it, that level of play for the 16s and where they're headed, something fun to watch.
Yeah, truly amazing. I mean, a lot of talent, very well versed in the game, both physically, mentally. They understand it. They're becoming students of the game. A lot of opportunities for them out there. I mean, my biggest recommendation to anyone at home watching is, you know what, work hard between the lines, but you got to work hard off the field as well with your books and in the weight room.
Amanda, your home state, well represented there on the field. Houston Power, you spent some time over by their dugout. Pretty impressive group.
Yeah, well, what I thought was most impressive is that everybody kind of got in on the action, and they didn't just rely on 9 players. We got to see 3 different pitchers and a ton of different hitters come up to the plate and run bases. So the depth on the Houston Power team, to me, was the most impressive part of the game.
Amanda, Michelle, grab one of those star-shaped hamburgers we saw on the grill earlier, and we'll see you back here in about 30 minutes for that All-American game at Rising Stars. The 18 and under All-American contest is coming up next right here on CBS Sports Network. For Michelle Smith, Amanda Scarborough, and our entire crew, thanks to everyone who worked this game 1 of 2 today. I'm Thad Anderson. For scores, highlights, features, and more, go to CBSSports.com. Rising Stars is produced by Triple Crown Sports in association with CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Congratulations to Houston Power, champions of the 16-year-old elite bracket at Rising Stars.